Hi, everyone. I'm Etienne Noumen, founder of the AI Unraveled podcast at Apple. And today we're going to be talking about a tutorial. I want to show you how to build your first interactive AI chatbot. This is part of the Builders Toolkit that is available at jamgatech.com. So if you go to jamgatech.com, you can download this tutorial, the Builders Toolkit that has all the tutorial that we're going to be building. So we have about five so far, and this is going to be the sixth one, and we're going to be adding weekly. So if you get the Builders Toolkit, you're going to have valuable resources to be proficient in AI. So let's go. So you can see my screen here. The first thing that we need to do to create a simple chatbot is to get an OpenAI key. So I'll go right here to show you how it works, right? So this is the OpenAI. Just go to openai.com and you're gonna log in, and then you can go and create your keys, right? So like it's not free, right? So I load $10 credit per month, for what it takes to learn. For me, it's very valuable, right? So you can create keys, right? To create a key is very easy. You just click create a new key, test key, right? You can call it test key, create. I'm not going to create one because I already have some, right? So these are the keys that I have. So when you create the key, you can copy the secret key. And now when you get your key, you go to Google Colab. Google Colab is free, so I recommend it to you. If you really want to know how AI works, go and get Google Colab. It's free. The website is collab.research.google. Just type Google Colab in a browser, and then you'll get there. So in Google Colab, this is where we build everything, right? It's like a notebook. So don't worry about all the code that you see there. We'll talk about it. So I just want to give you a snippet of what we're going to build, right? So that you can know where we're going. So I already wrote the code because, it would have taken a long time to just write it from scratch. So I'm just going to go and run it just to give you an overview of what the code is going to look like at the end of our tutorial. So I'm going to run this. So this is basically just like a basic chatbot, but it's a real chatbot that works, right? So you can, so the way it works, you can start a conversation. Hey, hi. And then the chatbot is going to answer you, right? The chatbot says, hello, how can I help you today? Let's just ask anything. I like soccer, right? So I'm going to say, okay, who won the last two World Cup? Okay, so now you see, and then the chatbot's gonna answer, right? So that's true, right? So FIFA World Cup 2022, that was Argentina. 2018, that's France, that's correct. And then they even, I was thinking about the men's World Cup, but they are so detailed. They even talk about the women's World Cup, right? So, and then you can ask follow-up question, right? So this is how our chatbot is gonna work. Simple interface, right? But if you want to build it, maybe for business, you can make this interface a lot better, look nicer. But the objective here is just to show you what is possible. So, okay, I'm going to stop the conversation. I'm going to say quit. You don't want it to be running forever. I'm going to clear this. And now, how did we end up to build that chatbot? So let's start at the beginning. So remember, I talked about getting an API key. We got that, but what do I do with the API key? So when you start, you create an empty notebook, right? So at the beginning, this is supposed to be empty. And then the first thing you need to do is to add the API key you just created, right? So if I can add a new one, add secret, test key, blah, 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 add it, and then that's it. You just paste the key you got from API, from OpenAI, right? I'm not gonna add it because I already have one right here, and it's always, and I'm just gonna, all you have to do is enable it. Because if you have multiple keys, you need to tell your Google Colab which one you're gonna be using. So I'm gonna be using this one, that's why you see it enable as blue right here. So you have your keys, and then you close it, and now you start with your code. So remember, all the code here, the code is in the tutorial PDF that you're going to download, and then you can just copy and paste it. So you don't have to worry about it. So the first thing you have to do is to, okay, you're talking to OpenAI, so you need to install the OpenAI module, right? So let's run this code, pip install OpenAI, and then boom. The nice thing about Notebook is that you can run your code block by block. You don't have to run the whole thing, right? You just write block by block, and then you can understand what is going on. And if you want to understand even more, you can ask to explain the code to you, right? And then Google Gemini is going to go and tell you exactly what you just did, right? Which is really cool. Like, so I'm going to close this. So we run this command. Let's clear this to have like a clean window. So the second command we're going to run for our chatbot is to import the libraries that we need, right? So, we are working with OpenAI, so we need to import these libraries. So we're going to run this one, and then it's going to go and import the libraries. So there's no output here because, unless there's an error, right? If there was a typo or anything, you're going to have an error. So everything's clean. And now uh, we have our API key. We've imported the library, but how do we know that our API key has been loaded to Google Colab? So this part help us to check that, right? So this part is going to see, okay, I have access to your API key. Let's run this one. And then, so if everything's good, it's going to tell you, yes, Open API key loaded successfully. If there was a problem with your keys or anything, you have gotten an error message, right? So that is cool. And now you have your API key loaded, and then it's time to initialize your conversation. So with this block of code, you can initialize it. So here, like, basically you just tell it what your assistant is doing, right? Because you can have various kind of assistant. This one can just be a friendly assistant that just answer any question. If you want your chatbot to be specific, you can maybe say, okay, I want an assistant to help me talk about dogs or about cat or whatever, right? So when you code it yourself, feel free to change this. So let's run this, and then it's initialized. So you can see the message right there. And now when your chatbot is initialized, it's time to actually build the chatbot. So this is the code we're using to build the chatbot. So remember, you can get Gemini to explain the code to you. This is very important. So let's ask Gemini to explain what the code is doing, right? So it's very, very clear. So we start here, and what you do is that you start, okay, he's expecting you to say something, right? Hello, or tell you how to exit the chatbot, the different roles, to work, he's gonna go and get the API key, and then OpenAI with the API key tells you exactly what model you can access, right? So the latest, the more advanced you can use with API key is GPT 4.1. So there are some older models. So the only thing you need to know about this model is like, you're not gonna have access to the latest, greatest model from OpenAI. So you might not have like real time. For example, if you ask ChatGPT what time is it today, since this model was done for 2023 or 2022, he might not be able to answer that. But when those models become available, you should be able to get exactly what you need with the model you're choosing, right? And then the temperature can control, the randomness, right? So 0, 0 is the floor, and then 1.0 is the ceiling, right? So we have 0 0.8. Let's increase it to 0 0.9 to be like, more random. And then the max token. Max token is like, the amount of message, you want to have in a chat, right? So if you don't want to have it way too big because, it might cost you a lot of money, right? So this is not free when you use those API key, right? So you just want to limit it. 150 is good enough to give you enough information for your answers. And then here, this is how you code the response, and then you printed the error message and all that. So if you want more detail about all that, you can get Gemini to explain it to you, right? So let's go here, explain code. Yeah, it's like, when you click, it's explaining the line you're clicking, right? So just showing you if you want to understand uh, anything specific about your code. So now we have our code, and let's test it, right? So we're gonna run this block, and then remember this one is good to go. Let's go. Hi. So I'm talking to my chatbot I just built. So say, hello, how can I help you today? Tell me who won the Ballon d'Or in 2023, for example. Okay, Lionel Messi. If you know a little bit about soccer, you remember that's Lionel Messi. Right? So you can ask a follow-up question. So how many goals did he score that year? Right? So that's true. He was playing for PSG, he scored 21 goals. And just how specific is it? Like you can ask follow-up question. It's just like a real chatbot, like just like ChatGPT, just like Gemini, just like DeepSeek. And then we just build it in a couple of minutes. So thank you for listening. This was fun. Please go to jamgetech.com, download this AI Builders toolkit. It's gonna have tons of tutorials to show you exactly how to be proficient with AI and help you with your career. Thank you so much. I'm Etienne Noumen, creator of AI Unraveled podcast. Please go to Apple, go to YouTube, like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Have a good day.